You may be considering getting a new car, planning to take a look around a showroom or talking to a dealer. You might even be going through the specifications and looking at the photos online. But what if you could explore a car from different angles and even take it for a drive without leaving your home? Škoda has already launched a virtual showroom, a website where you can configure your ideal car and see a 3D model of it. We discussed this with the head of customer journey department at Škoda, Erik Buten, back in November 2021. Now Škoda has taken another step by entering the so-called virtual world where you can walk around the car and even take it for a drive. There's also an NFT gallery and a virtual island to wander around called Skodaverse. Today's guest on the Simply Clever podcast is Luca Zicconi from the Customer Journey Department at Škoda. Luca and his team also partnered with Diego Borgo, a Web3 ambassador, NFT collector and advisor to Fortune 500 brands regarding the blockchain. And with Luca and Diego, we'll be finding out what exactly the Metaverse is and how it can benefit automotive companies and their customers. Welcome to Simply Clever podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe you should introduce yourself at the very beginning. So who's going to start?
I can.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm part of Customer Journey, and to be more precise, in Torsten Nikla's team, which is responsible for digital development. And personally, together with my team, we are responsible for content management, we call it. So we create content for digital touchpoints. These are actually is our main role, like car configurator, website, and other apps. And from beginning of the year, we are responsible for Web3 activity in Skoda. And actually, it's kind of a new project. So we are here today to talk about it and see where we can bring us.
And we have Diego Borgo here. I found you on LinkedIn, and it's Metaverse native, Web3 ambassador, NFT collector, and advisor to Fortune 500 brands. Is that correct?
That's it. Yeah, that's me.
Is it all?
Well, sort of. It depends how far you want to go.
we have plenty of time.
So mostly what I do is advising Fortune 500 brands on how to enter the Metaverse and NFT space. That's kind of like my overall scope. But the last 8 years, I've been helping brands on digital strategy, digital marketing, and branding. That's my so-called Web 2 expertise. So branding and marketing is what I spend most of my career doing the last 8 years as a consultant. I've been in blockchain since 2017. So, I sort of like got to see the technology, learn about the use case, was really excited about the possibilities.
For me, as a layman person, like the topic is Metaverse. But if I understand it correctly, and you basically said it within the intro, like we need to explain first what is Web3. So maybe we can start with that because like for most of the people, like that they probably, or maybe don't even know like that there has been some Web 1 and Web 2, and now we talk about Web 3. So what is it?
Yeah, maybe I can just quickly go through it. So basically, we can explain or define the Web 3 as the evolution of the internet. In the 90s, when it was created, is so-called Web 1. User could not do much. Basically, was just reading what was available on the web pages. And then how the times goes, new functionality were, placed. And with the advent of the social media, then, the engagement changed. So you could, read, write, share, comment. So there was also a sort of, interaction. But what is missing, or what was missing, was the ownership. Ownership of digital items, or it can be anything. Can be music, can be pictures, photos, videos. And so Web3, thanks to blockchain technology, allows this, like ownership. And as well, Web3 is really community-driven space. So there are a couple of pillars which are really important to mention, which is NFTs, of course, blockchain, community with DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization, and as well the topic of Metaverse, which is, of course, is difficult to define because it's not defined yet, the Metaverse, but we can go after a bit deeper maybe.
Why is it such a big thing to have this possibility to create community and let's say own something in digital world? Because like as you mentioned that like we kind of like had that before, or at least the community thing. So why is it such a big thing to have this next step?
I take it. I mean, what is interesting is, you get to understand what's happening, which is a fundamental shift on technology and culture, right? And whenever that happens, if you look back in history, that's when those groundbreaking momentos happen, right? So what's happening right now is a renaissance, especially for a new medium on how we can tell stories. That's what is exciting. A lot of people are looking at the technology or looking at the use case we currently have and trying to predict the future by looking at the present and missing out, because now it's all about apes and, rocks that you can buy and cost $1 million and makes no sense for who is looking from outside, and also from people from inside. A lot of times it doesn't make as much sense, but everybody's just looking at that, right? And if you look at the past, is the best way on how you can predict the future. So look at how the print revolution happened, right? A new technology got together with culture. There was a new medium on telling stories. And then you look at the same thing for radio, for TV, for internet, for social media, for e-commerce. The past is repeating itself now through blockchain, NFTs, and Metaverse. Those are no new mediums. Those are new ways on which you can tell stories, on way you can connect with people. And therefore, as a byproduct of it, you can build community. And the interesting aspect of building community in that sense is that now we are shortening the distance through technology, right? So you can, as a brand, you can connect with people from all over the world at the same time in one space. You can co-create with them. You can understand. You can create different, DAOs, for example. You can create different models of voting and deciding and taking decisions as a group. You can create gated experiences, meaning that if someone holds a certain NFT from your brand, you can now create an experience where just those people can go through, or just those people can have access to. That can be physical, that can be digital. So through technology, we are now being able to create those gated experiences, create those new elements of community building. But the most important layer is culture. People were seeing the possibilities of a new economy, a new design of the way that brands interact with their so-called consumers, now with community. And that's what is interesting, because now there is a new way on how these connections can happen. And obviously, as soon as we start talking more about the metaverse and definitions and so on, which we will do soon, you start understanding that there is also a new layer on interaction. There's a new layer on experiences. There's a new layer on how you can indeed connect with people in a manner that wasn't necessarily possible before.
So it's kind of like next level of immersion of the digital space for regular people, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, Luca was saying before, right? Web3 is the evolution of the internet. And if you want to add the metaverse layer to it, the Web3 is sort of like the backbone, the technology aspect of it. And then you have the metaverse, which is the interface, right? The metaverse is basically what you see and where you spend time. So instead of being like on a Zoom call, which is a square, or being, in a video or in social media or chat rooms back on a day, now you're able to be in a 3D environment where everything's possible. And that's what's exciting, again, to tell stories, to connect, and to get people together.
From the, let's say, technological point of view, like what had to change like to get to this Web3 stage? You were talking about the crypto and so on. So that's only a blockchain we needed, or?
Well, maybe also, I mean, COVID definitely, it helped a lot, the transaction, because, even if you see how we work in Skoda, now most of the meetings actually are remotely. So COVID definitely, I would say, is the main factor of this, cultural changes, because as Diego said, it's also kind of a shift in the mind how to, you interact with people.
Suddenly we realize we need something like that to
making life somehow easier, especially if you don't need to travel for meetings, for example, or you can have a really immersive discussion with somebody on the other side of the world.
And it's a macro global trend that everybody went through, right? I mean, everyone in the world was affected by it in a manner. So
I would say this is the main one. Yeah. And then I would say the new generations for sure, because they bring like they grow up with completely different, technology. So they are used to, live in a certain way, use digital platform to express themselves. So for them it's like normal thing. So you can see actually there are platform like Roblox, which is like millions of users every day, and it's mainly young generation. So it will be more and more, used and normal actually.
What is it so interesting on this for the companies? So they can build a deeper relationship, maybe more transparent. Let the customer know what they are doing with their data, what they offer, and be more open in this relationship.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, for companies in general, it's really good opportunity to talk directly to the customer, because once you create the community, you don't have anybody in between. And all, the fact that they can own, let's say, a part of the company, or it can be a project, a sub project, they give them first thing a deeper connection with the brand, because say, I own this, I'm part of the brand, of the community.
Skoda Club. Yeah.
Exactly, Skoda Club. And then the brand can use this as Diego said, it can like rewarding their community members with some certain assets or sort of values, to keep them motivated and deeper connected with the brand. So I guess this is.
I mean, for me, is relevance, and simply put as well, is shifting the model on how brands tend to operate, right? The model that has been existing forever is brands are putting on a very high level place, holy grail situation, where if you touch my brand or if you do something with my brand, I can sue you, I can take it down, and I can do whatever is needed so nobody touches it, right? Which is obviously interesting from an IP perspective and trademark and so on. But if you think about the way that the world has been evolving more and more through collaboration and co-creation, that model also has to shift. I'm not suggesting that you have to give your brand away and let people do whatever they want with it. But one of the hardest things for brands is to stay relevant and also understand what is next. How you stay at the edge of technology, how you stay at the edge of culture. How do you understand what consumers want to have access next? And then you run those, research groups or whatever, that data can be, easily pushed to one direction or the other. And that's the way we've been doing it, right? Yeah. The difference now is, and I love that sort of like concept. And again, blue sky, we sort of like a very early stage at all of it. But I love the concept of, imagine if you could gate a community through a certain token, for example, an NFT, whatever it's going to be, and you can bring this community alongside with the brand and co-create a future with them. The people that are really passionate about it, because we talk a lot about community right now, but when we talk about community, the first thing people think is, how can we monetize it? How can we make money? And that's not what community is. Community is a place where people will care deeply about something together because they care about it. Not because they want to get money out of it, not because they want to buy something. They just care deeply about it, and they bound because they have the same interest, right? So how do we look at that layer of culture now enabled by this technology on how we can co-create the future of brands alongside of the communities? So I say that Web2 always was looking at consumers, targets, which is an insane name to think about it, right? We look at people as targets. Like
anonymous
we're targeting
thing,
them.
Yeah.
They're consumers. Consumers, they consume. They don't do anything else. They just like they consume. They are force fed, right? And marketing has this mentality and this language which is so insane. And now again, coming back to the mentality shift, now you have communities instead of consumers, right? Now you have co-creation. Now you have collaboration, which is much healthier. And also, if you want to build the future alongside with the people that care about the brand, that are deeply passionate about it, that's the way to go. So that's kind of like the value that is behind all of it, that, it's obviously hard to see because you cannot have clear KPIs. You cannot have a short-term ROI, but if you understand what happened on the transition from, before social media to after social media, it took time, but look the power of social media now. And again, coming back to the medium aspect that's happening through NFTs, Metaverse, and so on. So, I tend to say that especially for marketing is the first time in history that we're going to leave a place where marketing is seen as a cost center to become a value center, which is really exciting and brings us back as marketers, because I'm a marketer myself, bring us back to sort of like the fun aspects of looking at the brand and building stories and telling stories and not just like selling product to consumers. And that's the opportunity we have right now.
So how all this Web3 idea transfers into what you do here in Škoda?
Yeah, good question. So actually, the big change happened when Thorsten came to our department. His first question was, okay, are we planning something about blockchain, NFTs? In the beginning, we were like, not at the moment. So the overall discussion started. So, and then I would say I'm quite lucky to have, we have big support from our top management, from Thorsten to Eric, head of VX, until Martin Jan, board member for sales and marketing. So we have this actually is helping a lot for us to move forward. And when we, together with Teresa, in my team, we started these Web3 activities. First thing was learn ourselves because we need to actually find out more what's happening, what the other brands are doing, how they are doing.
Yeah, we need to understand it first.
To understand exactly. Then then we need to focus really on education, because since it's completely new topic, there is a lot of misunderstanding. There was this bull market, so-called, and as Diego mentioned, everyone was just talking about apes sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people were like, why you want to do NFT in Skoda? And we're like, well, that's not it, that's not the point. So luckily right now, which is this bear market when crypto, went down, that's the best time ever, because you can really build. Every brand is building right now because they see the potential. And as a Skoda, what we have done through the educational part, we onboard key people within different departments, from marketing, communication, legal. And together with them, we shaped the idea of the Skoda Web3. And then we start, of course, piloting what's working, how it works. So we could see before summer, there was the Ice Hockey Championship, and Czech Market did this really nice NFT collection. It was very successful. And then during July, there was the first NFT from Skoda, even though it was related with the Wheel of Cycling for a Tour de Film. It was super nice because it was done in cooperation with an artist, local artist, Ilona Polanski. So they made beautiful collectibles. And then during this time, we explored NFTs, we are exploring blockchain, how does it work, and what about the Metaverse? Because also we believe Metaverse has huge potential to explore. So this is actually the next big thing.
So now it gets interesting, So we got to the Metaverse after, 10 to 15 minutes of talking. So Diego, can you do a quick introduction? What is it? Because generally speaking, I know what is it. Probably some people who played, Fortnite or something like that, they also got some idea how it can look like. Or maybe somebody has tried it on some platforms. But what are we talking about?
Yeah, I think maybe let's start from what is not to make it easier. So a lot of people are looking at the Metaverse because obviously it's hyped, and after Meta has changed their name from Facebook to Meta, everybody's like, oh, we need to do something in the Metaverse, right? What it's not just gaming, right? It's not, a lot of people are like, oh, Web 2, Metaverse. No, those are gaming platforms. Minecraft is a gaming platform. Roblox is a gaming platform. Fortnite is a game platform. It's not a Metaverse, it's a gaming platform. That's it. Just let's clear that up. The second thing is, it's not just about virtual reality, right? We can be in the Metaverse without necessarily having goggles.
Through our phones or other devices.
The goggle is a device. Saying that the Metaverse is virtual reality is the same than saying that your phone is the internet. It's a device.
It isn't?
Nobody told you yet?
First time ever.
So it's a device, right? It's the same, one-to-one. So that's what is not. It will be through virtual reality, yes. Will be through desktop, yes. Will be through the phone, yes. Will be through whatever is going to come next, augmented reality, glasses, yes. Sure, but it's an overall platform. It's like the internet, the Metaverse, right? So that's kind of like important to say. And the third thing that's really important to say that a lot of people are confused right now is that the Metaverse is not one place or one platform. Right? Meta obviously is claiming space, Microsoft's claiming space, but those are platforms, right? You have a Metaverse platform. You don't own the Metaverse, right? You cannot own the internet. You want a browser within the internet. You want a website within the internet. And those are platforms. So just what is not, in my point of view. And now we get into what it is, which is, there's 1,000 different definitions there. That's mine. And for me, we need to put it in a very simple manner so everybody understands, right? Which is, simply put, is an evolution of the internet and how we connect with each other digitally. That's it, right? If you look at what we were saying before, Corona and the macro trends, technology, we experienced this last 3 years of connecting digitally, spending more time digitally within those platforms that are horrible. The user experience of Teams, all of it. I'm not criticizing Teams as a platform, but the overall idea of having a video to have connections as humans is insane because it's a square, it's a 2D space. I feel much further than you than usually I would feel in the same room as we are right now. And we felt that needs to improve. And I think that, that also spiked the understanding and the desire and the sort of like the motive why people wanted to sort of like be on it and why it's relevant. So that's how I put it what it is. And if you want to see this overall ecosystem of like Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrency, Metaverse, the way for me that it makes it very tangible is thinking about Metaverse almost like Disneyland. Right? The Metaverse is Disneyland. It's a place where you can go, dreams can become true, everything's possible. There is no limitations, especially when you think about physical limitations, right? The only limitation within the Metaverse is going to be creativity. How creative can you be, right? That's the only limitation. Everything else possible. And as you go through that thought process, the most powerful thing Disney does very well within Disneyland, and that's what people should be thinking about the Metaverse, is storytelling.
Let's
they
call
have
it Disneyverse.
stories
That's
that touch people deeply and make them connected. So if the Metaverse is Disneyland, how do we go down there? You are in the Disneyland park right now, and that's the Metaverse. So everything you buy within Disney World or Disneyland, let's say the food, the hats, the Mickey Mouse, the waffles, those are NFTs, right? They represent the ownership of an item.
Some kind of a collectible. Whatever.
Collectible, or there's utility behind it, the band that you use to access the places, the ticket, all of that, those are NFTs within the Metaverse, right? So they will gated experience, right? You buy a ticket to enter the park. Depending on the tier of the ticket you bought, you can access certain activities, you can't access other activities.
All-inclusive food within the park or whatever, yeah.
If you buy a hat, which is a wearable, you can bring that home and wear that anywhere. So those are NFTs within the Metaverse, right? And then if you look at cryptocurrency, you need money to pay things for. Within the Metaverse, cryptocurrency is going to be the money that rules it. I'm not saying Bitcoin, I'm not saying Ethereum, I'm saying cryptocurrency is a concept. Yeah. That can be the digital dollar, digital euro, or a Skoda coin, whatever it's going to be, right? Cryptocurrencies is a concept. And that's how you're going to pay and interact within that space. The blockchain, in this sense, is basically the underlying technology. So the things you don't see, right? If you would dig deeper under Disney World, you'd see the cables running, people running around, people, running the show on the back end. And that's what blockchain technology is. So if you do a parallel with that, that's as simple as it gets, right? That's how kind of like this whole ecosystem works. And what is exciting about it is that people go there to experience new things, to see things, to quote unquote escape from reality and go there and experience things that you can't experience in real life. So one thing that's extremely important for brands is to look at, one, how can you create experiences that you cannot create in real life? So if it's a car dealership, it shouldn't look like a car dealership in Metaverse because you can do anything. Why would you do the same you can do in real life, right? Why does a car has to be exactly like a car in the real world, right? So that's the question I always pose. If you can do everything and creativity is the limiting aspect, why are you doing the same thing that you can do in the real world? So that's a thought-provoking question. The second aspect is, and I'll finish that with a use case, which is quite exciting, is if we are telling stories and if everything's possible and if we are connecting with people, why do we put product first, right? So why don't we build on the brand, on the values of the brand, what the brand stands for, right? Which is really exciting. So the best use case I've seen that nobody's talking about within the Metaverse was what Unilever has done with Close Up. So Close Up is a great example because it's a toothpaste. How much of a story can you tell with a toothpaste, right? Some people are like, oh, we are not Gucci, we are not Nike, we are not Adidas, so it's so hard for us to be in the Metaverse. Close Up is a toothpaste. And look what they've done. So what they've done is super exciting. They went to the Central Land and they invited couples from all over the world. And, one of the angles was not the main angle, but one of them was like inclusion and diversity. If you live in a country where marrying someone from the same sex isn't allowed or some gender isn't allowed, come to the Metaverse and let's get married in the Metaverse because here's possible. So people from the same gender or whatever they identify came to the metaverse, they hosted an event, they got married, and they had a certificate as an NFT that now they're married digitally in the metaverse. How exciting is that? Nothing to do with toothpaste, no product. But what the brand stands for as Close Up, they stand for love, inclusion, and diversity. And they delivered against that. So, that's what I find really exciting as well, is the power of storytelling within this new medium.
Nice. Yeah, you're building the brand awareness with whatever you want, like with your creativity, basically.
That's it.
Yeah, basically it's a new touch point for,
It's a new medium for telling stories. It's a new canvas. It's a renaissance. It was a renaissance for art. We're looking at digital art right now, and everybody's like trying to figure out how to use this new medium to, do the same things they've been doing before with art, as different materials were possible, sculptures, paints, and styles. Now it's digital art.
So within Skoda, this actually was part of our studying part to find out which platform are existing and for what they are used, to actually find the one will be more suitable for our purposes. So this is kind of, on the other end, is the early stage still. So this platform will...
Which is extremely important. It's finding it's testing and experimenting to see where the community is at, or what are they excited, or what matches with the brand. So a lot of brands are telling me which metaverse should we start with? I'm like, all of them. Do pop-up events. Small here, small there. Not major commitment. Pop-up events. We do something on the central end. We do something on Sandbox. We do something somewhere else, right? And then you start seeing where the audience is, which platform fits the best with your brand. Pop-up is a great concept. It's like you don't start with a flagship store in the middle of New York, right? You start with pop-up shops and you figure out what works best.
What is it for Škoda? What because you've built your own metaverse.
Yeah, we did.
So what is it about? Like what does the car company metaverse look like?
Well, definitely there should be some car at some point.
Hopefully.
No, when we started to think about, okay, what we can offer, what we can explore, we had this platform research, which is kind of useful because the technology actually helps you a lot in this. But our goal was, we need to explore, and we see potential in there within the metaverse topic. So since we are part of customer journey, we do the strategy. We wanted to create a sort of touch point where a user can explore the e-mobility topic, because it's the future in a more interactive, immersive, and gamified way. This was our objective, and of course support all the initiative like NFTs and maybe the new presenting new cars in a more attractive way, and maybe having a test drive there. So what we did, we partnered with one of these platforms, which is hybrid. So it's not decentralized, but it's not full centralized, so there is a possibility to interact with NFTs, because it's based on actually Ethereum blockchain. So it's called the Nemesis, is the platform. And together with them, we built from scratch an island. And the point is, through this, we can show the potential. There's a lot of potential. There is creativity. You can do whatever we want. And the idea is to keep it updated, create new things. Maybe when there is a new car launch or there is a motor show, create an engagement like that. And also what is cool there is you can drive the car.
You've said that you focused on e-mobility. Of course, it makes sense, because when we're talking about the EV users right now, they are early adopters, kind of pioneers, They
have a different mindset,
So it makes sense that they're probably kind of techie. They're open to new technologies, new platforms, and so on. So that's the idea behind that.
Yeah, the idea exactly, because we see in the IV customer a sort of customer which is more open to, or most used to technology, because with the IV you have different tools to work with. So that's the reason why we want to focus on e-mobility, and also because it's still a new topic for many people. So instead of going maybe just on the browser and read to the website, we can bring you together with us in a new world and explain you how does it work, what is the range calculator, how you charge the car, what is the power pass, all this activity which we have already running, but they will be basically moved on a more immersive space.
But you need to offer something for every let's say customer group or target group, because you want to persuade somebody to become a part of Škoda family, you need to take care about your customers, the drivers, and so on. So you need to like find the ways to lure the people to your
yeah.
Metaverse.
I mean, as we said, is a new thing. So that's why we focus a lot on education, showing like what is the potential, where is the potential, what we can do, and I mean, as you said, I mean, each customer has different needs. So at the end, we need to create something that can help the customer to have a smarter life. Live smarter actually. So that's the way.
One thing I'm interested in, Diego talked about like the different platforms. There are several of them, and it makes sense. Like even from the marketing point of view, Škoda will definitely have its own platform. Some other brand, some other company, car maker, whatever, will have its own probably. And if you talk about it, everybody is developing that, or there will be probably. But it makes sense from the brand's point of view and marketing point of view. But for me as a customer, I don't want that. I probably want to have some universal platform where maybe you can like contest for my attention. Probably is that the future we will get? That there will be some strong player who will like I don't know, swallow all the small platforms and create some huge space.
Well, that's the goal of the big tech industry, right? To get the leadership in that. But as we can see, since the technology evolves, make also easier to create. So that's why there are so many platforms. Will be more and more in the upcoming years. So the point is, each platform is built for a totally different experience. But I get your point. Will be, of course, easier to have one platform, but also will be tricky to put together all the needs of the user, because as I said, there will always be a sort of owner of this platform. So what I think is that as a group, there will be a point that the group will decide probably to have its own experience where all brands are there in a different, of course, offering different experiences, but still in the same platform to make for the user, an easy access.
BW platform from which you can access probably the Skodaverse and so on.
Well, this probably no, because
no?
we are not. We are a bit. No, I'm talking about more like brands like Audi,
Okay.
Volkswagen, Seat, Cupra. That together will have one metaverse where the Skoda, the Volkswagen group customer can go together and experience different things from different brands.
Yeah. Okay. We kind of talk about like what we needed to get to the point we are right now. So what we need to go even further, to get a broader idea of the metaverse, Web3 usage, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I think where we are right now, and I use that as sort of like analogy a lot, we are in the mid-90s right now, and the internet is just about to go mainstream, right? And what we need right now is education. People need to understand what this is. People need to sort of like figure it out what is in for them. And the most important thing, what we need to do is to make technology seamless, right? We need to hide all the blockchain conversation under the hood and enhance user experience so it make it easier for people to interact with something without knowing it exists, right? I say that I don't need to understand how electricity works to understand that electricity benefits my life. I press the button, light goes up. That's it. That's what matters. And we need to get to that stage of blockchain as well. We talk way too much about the technology right now. We talk way too much about, how it works, proof of stake, proof of work, what are nodes, and how those computers run, and what is smart contract. Like, we need to put that in the back. Otherwise, we won't be able to bring the whole world into this, which is the ultimate goal, right? Not to force feed people, not to convince, but rather to show what we have seen and what the possibilities are within this. So, I think that education is key. I play a lot saying that we are changing the world one wallet at a time, so we go step by step and sort of like try to figure out, how we sort of like start bringing more and more people to understand and to utilize that.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.